Philadelphia Eagles fans, are you pissed off with how your team did last year? Well, wait no further. I got the 7th-round 2021 NFL mock draft that you have been waiting for. That's right, folks. I got special guests with me today with Philadelphia insider Mr. Castro of the Philly Fresco podcast joining me today. We're going to break down every single pick and why it would be a good pick for the Philadelphia Eagles. Stay tuned. You don't want to miss this.
Touchdown with Doug Smith, celebrate, that's a new move. Heinzman, 2 views, catch him on YouTube. NFL coverage, interviews, new news, who win, who lose, comedy, you choose. It's not about moolah, the QB's like Tua is missing in action. No L's on my shooter, play it like Marino, it's a gamble like casino. Hungry for it, but you know we still gon' try to feed the beef. Rivalries will lead the conference, Cowboys of the Eagles. Will Belichick be a threat? Better check. Tomlin on deck, much respect to the vet. What to expect? Gotta tune in for the rest. Make sure to sub, like, check. At the best, bad boy, the sports podcast for the threat across the north, east, south, in the west. Sitting back, clueless, time to tune in. Now another sports center, it's a movement.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Touchdown with Doug Smith. Now, this is another episode in this podcast series where I am doing a mock draft. I'm trying to hit a mock draft of every single team in the NFL. Now, folks, I don't claim to be a specialist of everybody, but I bring in the people who do know. That's right, folks. Your boy got reinforcements today from the Northeast, from the NFC East. I got my dog and Philadelphia Eagles insider, Philly Fresco, the Philly Fresco podcast. What's going on, man?
What's good, man? Thanks for having me on. Yeah, you know what it is. Joe Castro, Philly the podcast. We out here, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. If you get a chance, I'm going to plug all of his information below. Before we're going to start the Philadelphia Eagles podcast, or excuse me, Philadelphia Eagles mock draft today, man, if you could go ahead and plug the good folks of the Touchdown with Doug Smith, the viewers here, and let them know where they can find you.
Yeah, you can look up Philly the podcast anywhere. You can go to phillythepodcast.com. All of our socials are at PhillyTP. Yeah, and we got a little bit of a YouTube channel, a little bit of a community growing. So yeah, even if you're not an Eagles fan, you're more than welcome to come on over and learn about the competition, right? Because sometimes you got to analyze your competition. So yeah, everybody's more than welcome, man.
Absolutely, man. And for those who know, man, Eagles, unless you live under a rock or live in, I don't know, Scandinavia or wherever you live, Eagles fans are some of the most passionate fans in the NFL. Probably, I'll say they are the most passionate fans in the NFL. And some great fans as well, too. They look out for one another. They may fight you, but the fight comes with love. And so to talk about the Eagles, wow. You and I were talking a few minutes before we started this episode. You guys got 8 picks in the draft. You got one in the first round, 1 in the second round, 2 third-rounders, 2 fifth-rounders, and then a 6th and a 7th round pick as well, too. Now, this has been a lot of drama. Carson Wentz, he is no longer Philadelphia Eagle. He's now a Colt, closer to his homeland of the Dakotas. He's one of those places with buffaloes. Good for him, but I think you guys took away something more than what you guys had with him. So now kick it off with the first round pick. Who do you guys take and have? What are some needs and what direction you guys think the Eagles are going to go?
Now, like I told you off camera, I would probably, if it was up to me, I would trade down every single pick at this point. Look, the Eagles have a lot of needs. The Eagles have a lot of wants. And I think this is going to be finally the year at that number 6 pick. I'm hoping at least that our Philadelphia Eagles front office maybe listens to the needs over the wants. So I'm going to say this. I want, personally, Micah Parsons. I think that's what we need at that position, right? But that's not who I have us picking. And the reason why I do not have us picking is because we do also need a playmaker on offense, all right? This is one of those years, and I understand a lot of Eagles fans might have the mentality that we've drained so many picks into the wide receiver position. But this year you have a bevy, and when I say bevy, I say probably a good 2, maybe 3 options that will be there at 6. One of them being Jamar Chase. I love Jamar Chase. If someone is going to be picked at number 6, that is a wide receiver that is not named Micah Parsons, I would love for it to be Jamar Chase. So at number 6, I think we will go with Jamar Chase.
I love it, man. And whoever whether y'all go quarterback and free agency or whatever, hey, the position is Mr. Jalen Hurts. As far as quarterback goes, that gives another weapon to the arsenal. There's so many needs. You got the O-line, you got wide receiver, you got middle linebacker. So I think having him to the arsenal is definitely going to light the world on fire. Now, second round, who do you guys got?
Second round was a little bit tougher for me because, realistically, if depending on what happens in the first, there's names in the second round. Hold on, I got a couple of names that I listed before I actually go into the pick. So in the second round, there was names like Zaven Collins I was looking at. There was names like Asante Samuel Jr. I'm looking at. Wide receivers like Rondale Moore, Kadarius Toney. These are all guys I would not be mad at, and it all depends on what happens in the first round, right? I think at this point you want to start addressing the defense. I think that's where this is a very good draft to address the defense. So for that point alone, I love Asante Samuel Jr. I think he's almost a carbon copy of his father, and I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. I don't mean it in a sometimes they just want to be themselves, right? But I mean that in the best way possible. He looks like he's going to be a great NFL player, but I'm going to go with Eric Stokes, the cornerback out of Georgia. Reason why I go with him, he's 6'1", 185. I love the size. I love the speed. I love the physicality. And I think I really want to go linebacker here, but there's so much depth that I think cornerback, you want to go with the top cornerback left. I think that's Eric Stokes. So I'm going to go with Eric Stokes in the second round.
I like it. Okay, yeah, a little something for the secondary, a little something from the offense. Love it. Now you guys got 2 third-round picks. One of them being yours, and the other one being in the trade for Mr. Carson Wentz, coming from the Indianapolis Colts. That's and one thing I want to say at the beginning of this episode is that this is one of those drafts where you're going to have people sliding. You have people who are supposed to go in 5th round, go in 2nd. People who are supposed to go in 1st to 2nd, slide all the way down to 5 to 6. So because this was such a weird college football season, scouting is really going to be all over the place. So you're going to have talent equally spread out. So you got 2 third round draft picks. It's excellent. But who you guys got?
So, before we get to number 70, number 84, I believe, is the Indianapolis Colts. So number 84 is going to have to battle Carson Wentz for the rest of his career. So that's probably going to be the most unfair draft pick in this draft for us. But we'll start at number 70. And you said it perfectly, honestly. There's going to be a lot of people that slip and slide around in the draft just because a lot of times you're going to be going off of their athleticism, what they show on tape, and a lot – the scouting, the scout days or pro days, whatever it's going to be this year. I know a lot of it's going to be weird. I've been able to interview a couple guys that are going to be going through the draft process, and all of them say it's going to be all like virtual type stuff. So that's going to be weird. So this guy that I have is one of those guys that I think is going to be a riser. I don't know if he'll make it to the 3rd round. If he does, I would love this pick. Look, he was a former quarterback in high school. Played for North Dakota, so that scratches that itch. You know what I'm saying? But he did end up in LSU. He is a linebacker, and that fills that need. And I'm going to go with Jabril Cox. I love Jabril Cox. I think that the guy is beyond athletic. I think one thing that might hold him back is that lack of competition. A lot of people look at LSU and say, whoa, he went to LSU. He had a great year in LSU. Obviously, it was a shortened season in 2020. But when he was in North Dakota State, that's really where he played there 3 years. He put up crazy numbers, but it was North Dakota State. So shout out to LSU also on that, because they ruined my guy's chance of having 4 national championships in a row. So, that kind of sucks. But and then so for the pick that everybody, I guess, will probably be waiting for is the number 84 pick. Now here, it's probably not a sexy name. And I don't know how he dropped so many times in the draft, because I've been hearing his name, early day 2. But it's Quincy Roche, the edge rusher from Miami.
Okay.
I don't think he's going to be there, but like I said, I did a couple of these mock drafts just to kind of get a feel of where everybody would be, but he kept on dropping. If that's the feel on him, and I could kind of understand it, because in the same way of a Jabril Cox, Jabril Cox is more of a finished product in my opinion, but Quincy Roche is going to take a little bit. He's got a great body to be
He has a ceiling,
defensive
high
end.
ceiling too.
Yeah, he has a very high ceiling, but
Yes.
you're going to have to work on him. You're definitely going to have to work on him. So if we can get him there with our fourth pick in this draft, I would be cool with that. And I know we love our defensive line, and our defensive line is getting old. So I wouldn't be mad with that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Definitely get a little bit of talent in there. And hey, and getting defense for the not just for the Philadelphia Eagles, but for all NFC East teams. There were so many close games, and there was people said it was like the worst division in NFL history, but I gotta say it was entertaining because it showed a lot of heart and it exposed a lot of people. So I think you guys beefing up your defense would definitely be super dope, very beneficial to you guys.
Yeah, and before we go too far from that, like the crazy thing about the Eagles is I think a lot of times you'll see my especially my fan base, and I love them. I love my audience. They're my family, but they want the sexy pick. That's why you take Jamar Chase early. But if Howie's smart, he's going to put all his eggs in this defense because we're old. Both could be bad, but at least the offense is young right now. The defense is just old and bad. So that's a terrible combination. So you'll see with more of these picks, we're going defensive heavy, man. We're going defensive heavy.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And then so that's for the third round. And then for the fifth round, you got 2 picks for the fifth round. Who do you got?
So these are actually kind of almost back to back. They're 6 apart, 151 and 157. The first one I'm going to go with another need. We don't know what we're going to be getting in Rodney McLeod, when he's going to be coming back. Is Jalen Mills a real safety? Is Kayvon Wallace going to make that next step? So many questions. We do need a cornerback. We obviously, filled that cornerback 2 spot earlier in the draft. This is when I think you can maybe fill a safety of the future, maybe not immediate, but I think he's become one of my favorite players in the draft, maybe because of his name, but it's Talanoa Hufanga, the safety out of USC. I love this kid. And if he falls, look, like I said, this is mocks. So I did a couple, he kept falling. I'm like, hey, if he's going to be there, I would love to take him there. So yeah, I have to know. Now I almost messed up his name, Talanoa Hufanga. But I've heard some Steelers fans say, hey, he reminds me of, that guy with that beautiful hair. As an Eagles fan, I don't think I should really say his name, but
Head and Shoulders. We'll just say Head and Shoulders.
We'll just say Head and Shoulders. But no, I've heard those comparisons, and the boy can hit. He's not fully there. He'll definitely probably take a little while to, definitely get developed a little bit, but we're in development mode. So I think he'll be perfect. Now for 157 is a guy I think will be there. This is a guy, once you get to these later rounds, I start going with people I know, so you'll start seeing that these names are kind of all together. So what I mean by that is I'm obviously a Penn State fan, right? So somebody I saw a lot was Jonathan Cooper, edge rusher out of Ohio State. If he's somebody that's going to be there, I would love to get him. Another guy that I feel is developmental. Ohio State has one of the, if not the best defensive line coach in the game and in the country, in my opinion. You can go down, and I forget his name now, of course, but I was banging the table for us to hire him when we were going through this whole rebuilding of coaching staff. So I've seen what he can do. We've all seen what he can do. We've seen all these OSU players in the league creating havoc, just killing quarterbacks. And Jonathan Cooper is not, he's not Jamar, what's it called? He's not one of the Bosa brothers. He's not, Jamar. Yeah, he's not any of these big names, but he's a dog. He's a dog. And I think, under our guy, he'll do well. So I would love to see Jonathan Cooper from Ohio State.
Nice. And Ohio, it feels like every year they're delivering in the draft. They're a big school that constantly delivers big names, or even if names that may not be so big, even some of the maybe not so well-known names, they got ballers. Even people who may not have shined on Ohio State because there's so many stars around you. Maybe pick up that backup linebacker in the draft at Ohio State. Watch what you do in the NFL. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
They do some great work. So you got 2 more picks 6 and 7. What you got?
So I got for 191. Again, I'm going with somebody I know. So I'm going with the wide receiver out of Indiana, Whop Filler. I think that he's not there yet, but he has traits. He has a lot of traits that I like. a little bit small. I think he's like 5'11". I want to say he is. He's a little bit small, but like I said, he has all the traits. At these points, you're starting to look at somebody that you can maybe just kind of stash. So I like him. I love him, honestly. Wap Filler killed Penn State on those quick routes, and I know that's what Nick Sirianni likes to do. So I think he could come. He might even be able to come in and fit in right away. So, I think he has about the same ceiling that he does as a floor. Like, I don't think he'll be terrible, but I don't think he'll ever be that great. But, I think he'll be a good pick. And then at 220, so I got two more picks. 228 is just a random ass dude, to be honest. Because at that point, I'm not gonna lie. At that, I'll start with 228 and then I'll go to 220 because 220 is actually somebody I really like. But 228, I took Ian Book. Ian Book, the quarterback. We're gonna take a quarterback, make it the last pick. That's really all I got to say about that. I mean, I've heard Ian Book is really good. People really like him. So, okay, whatever. You can do that for yourself, Howie. And then 220, this is another guy. I really do not think he's going to be here. Maybe I'm being a homer here. You know what I'm saying? But I've heard that he was going to be anywhere from a second to a fifth round pick. If he drops all the way this drastically, I would be ecstatic because I did interview him as well. And if he got on the Eagles, this would be awesome. So Jimmy Morrissey, the inside offensive lineman from Pittsburgh, he played center there. Yeah. We don't know what's going on. I think the only reason he would fall is just because of the lack of proven versatility. He hasn't really played inside, outside, all that stuff. So, he's only really played center. So that's the only reason I could see him actually falling this far. But I probably would have took Jimmy Morrissey over Wap Filler, maybe even over Jonathan Cooper. So Jimmy Morrissey is definitely someone I would love to have on the team. And like I said, maybe I'm being a little bit of a homer because I did interview him. So,
No, I feel you. I had True Williams on my show from Syracuse, man. He's expected to go rounds as early as round 2. He could go all the way down to like 5. He's, again, man, meet some of these guys, and people don't realize the caliber. Technically, in definition, there's no such thing as a bad NFL player because it's the best of what college could give you. Like, I played a year of college football for New Mexico Highlands University. There was a few garbage folks who snuck in. There's a few. It's not a lot. It's not a majority, but they sneak in. But in the NFL, it just so happens some are bigger stars and make the other ones look crazy. But
yeah, I feel like once you get to the NFL, there's no bad players. There's just you're either a fit for someone's scheme. You outworked everybody. There's different levels. You obviously have some of those guys that are just like physically, oh my God, how did you get created? But, for the most part, it's like hard, it sounds corny, but it is. It's hard work. You were doing it since you were freaking 5. Like, and that brings it back to this draft. Look at this draft. There's so many people that made switches over. You know what I'm saying? Like, you look at Trey Lance, he's got 1 year. You look at Zach Wilson, he's got really one good year. There's so many players that are just randomly rising up the board. Kyle Pitts is another one, This is going to be a really interesting draft, man. This is going to be a really interesting draft.
Yeah, and this is going to be and I'll end on this note. This is going to be who has the best scouting, who will win this draft. And I should say it's going to be like one team, but there's going to be, there may be teams that, like the Chargers, like, boom, they hit on every pick because he got great scout, right? There may be teams like the Dolphins or Eagles or people. The scouting is going to be so huge because you have players opt out too. Is that going to make people fall? Is that going to make folks like Michael Parsons fall? Is that going to make Jamar Chase fall to second? I highly doubt it. But, it's going to be a lot of risk taken. So, got to make good decisions in this draft, hands down, because otherwise it's going to be – because I'll say right now, there's going to be some teams that, we're going to look back in a year from now and be like, oh, y'all didn't hit on one pick. So, and then for a team like the Eagles, where you had Eagles, Washington football team, or the team with no name, I should say, Dallas Cowboys and the Giants. They're all very equal as far as kind of talent and what was going on. So I can't say like, hey, one team is better than the other. But if Eagles capitalize on this draft,
facts.
Watch how things turn around that quick. Ain't gonna be perfect. It's still building. Watch how things turn around that quick.
Yeah, and we got the money. That's the one little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. Like after this year, we're set to have like $80 million in cap space. So if we can hit on 5, if we can get our first 5 to actually be like quality players, he could be a great team. Who knows? And then we figure out what Jalen Hurts is. We're not used to losing. So please, Howie, don't make me go through it too long. That's all I'm asking.
Howie, he gonna have the fans. You saw them folks ran up in DC. You're gonna have Eagles fans run up in Lincoln Financial Stadium. They're gonna be coming in, and you're gonna have the Italians who work on the pier. You're gonna have the Muslim dudes selling the bean pies. They're gonna be running up in there like, "Hey, Howie, you're done."
We told you, Jamar Chase. Yeah, no, if he drafts a quarterback at number 6, I kind of actually fear for his life. But
man,
we could go for hours, bro. Like we could talk for hours about this. I know you try to keep these episodes, so hey, man.
No, you good. No, you good. Yeah, it's about to be wild this draft, man. Like it's just, I always say the NFL draft is like Christmas for NFL fans. You know what I mean? Because what kind of present we getting today? Not to say that players are items or anything like that, but like what kind of gifts is our organization now going to take and have? Because at the end of the day, it takes one draft pick, one player to change the face of an organization. Look at Tom Brady. Man. You know what I mean?
I'm ready for my new toys.
Yeah, hey man, we ready. Man, hey, I gotta say, Mr. Castro, thank you so much for blessing us today, taking time out of a busy schedule. I gotta say, you guys check this dude out. I was on his show a couple months ago, and man, I said some stuff about Carson Wentz being. I said Carson Wentz is the Kirk Cousins of the NFC East, and people came after me. But I will say he got some dope fans of his show. He got over 1,500 subscribers. He got God knows how many views. I mean, you're doing some. He got merch. So man, I'm gonna tag all his stuff down below. If you let the good folks know before you go, where did they can take and find you?
Yeah, man. Like I said, it's Joe Castro, Philly the podcast. Yeah, we do live streams almost every day. I'm about to, cut them down a little bit to like 3 days a week. But we got memberships where you get to, be in on the interviews. I'm trying to catch up to you on the interview game, but we got a couple of interviews. So we're doing like exclusive interviews with the memberships. It's only 99 cents for these next couple months. But yeah, just search up Philly the podcast anywhere, man, and we'll pop up. And we're forever humbled, bro. I really appreciate you, Doug, because you've been kicking it with me since I had like 200 subscribers, so I appreciate the love and support. So, anything you need, bro, I got you, bro.
Yeah, that's love, brother. Hey, and vice versa, man. I got you. Thank you so much for your kind words, man. And folks, you guys make sure for you to subscribe to my channel at all the links. Matter of fact, I will come to your house and hunt you down if I find you subbing mine before his. Hit my dog up. And thank you guys so much. God bless. Wash your nasty hands because I heard this bear flu on the loose. Have a good night. Peace.
Time to tune in. Now another sports center. It's a movement.